I'm sorry, ma'am. You'll have to move. Elaine Turner didn't raise her voice, but the words hit like a slap across silk. The polished airline hostess stood over Maya Collins, clipboard in hand, tone wrapped in courtesy but lined with ice. Maya, poised in a gray blazer and silver-rimmed glasses, looked up slowly from her tablet. Around her, the VIP lounge breathed in judgment. Champagne paused mid-pour, whispers curling like smoke. Behind her, Greg Dalton chuckled low to Samantha Leeds. "Probably wandered in," he muttered. Samantha's smirk was automatic. Harold Dent leaned closer to his phone. "She doesn't look like someone who belongs in VIP," he whispered, pretending to scroll. "This is my assigned seat," Maya said evenly, setting her tablet down. Elaine didn't even glance at her list. "Please don't make this difficult." As Maya rose, a slim leather folder slipped from her lap. Luis Ramirez, a young staffer, caught the faint flash of a federal seal before she picked it up. Moments later, Bradley Knox, cargo shorts and golf cap, was offered a mimosa without a word. A red light blinked once beneath Maya's bracelet. Then, without pause, she stepped through a frosted door no one else noticed. Except Luis. If you believe no one should be judged by appearance, especially by those in power, hit like and subscribe. Type justice in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. This story delivers the most powerful instant karma you'll see all year. It didn't start with the seat. It started the day before. Quiet, controlled. Maya had ended her morning reviewing security footage at the Ascend Regional Operations Center. She didn't wear her title that day. No staff, no car service, just a gray coat, flats, and a leather-bound notepad tucked under her arm. She took a stroll through the airport, not for leisure, but for insight. She wanted to see how her people were being treated when no one thought they mattered. That's when she first saw Elaine Turner, at the check-in counter, polished, polite, prejudiced. She saw Greg Dalton, too, lounging back in a leather chair, swirling wine like it was a trophy. Their laughter? It didn't touch her, but their energy did. Loud entitlement wrapped in designer scent. They didn't notice Maya. They never do. That's the point. Maya Collins was born in Camden, New Jersey, grit and grace in one heartbeat. Her mother taught kids how to dream while her father fixed broken heat through the winter. Maya was the girl who walked past boarded-up houses with her head high, reading stock market charts before class. She learned to move silent in loud places. By 33, she had rewritten compliance strategy for 3 regional airlines, but was still introduced as Miss Collins from admin. She smiled, then rewrote their future while they ignored her. She didn't ask for recognition. She documented everything. Greg once gave her his coat at an awards gala. Thought she was the help. He called her sweetheart. She placed it gently on a chair, then walked to the stage to accept an award he didn't know existed. He turned red. She didn't. Now? She's CEO of Ascend Aero Group. She still rides economy when no one's watching. She listens to cleaning crews and reads every termination file herself. Her office door doesn't lock. It doesn't need to. But even now, people see her skin, her gender, her silence, and assume Elaine, Greg, Samantha, they don't coordinate, but they orbit the same thing. Quiet bias. When Angela Browning glided in earlier, all heels and heritage, Elaine beamed. "Welcome, Ms. Browning." No ID check, no doubt, just comfort. Maya had arrived earlier and got told to leave. Have you ever felt dismissed just for how you looked? Share your story in the comments and hit like and subscribe. Elaine leaned closer, her perfume sharp like her tone. "People always try to sneak in here," she whispered, just loud enough for the room to catch it. "Entitlement's a disease. No names, just venom veiled in policy. The kind that drips slow and stains deep." Maya didn't move. Her eyes stayed steady. Her breath even. Elaine tapped the tablet again, though it was more for show than necessity. "You're not on this list. I'm asking you, for the last time, to vacate this seat before I call security." Maya's response came like cool steel. "I was invited." The room exhaled, only to inhale sharper. "You're making this harder than it has to be," Elaine snapped. Then came Greg Dalton, swagger and savior complex wrapped in cufflinks. "Let me help you out, ma'am." He reached for Maya's shoulder with faux chivalry, guiding her with a grip that bordered on force. She resisted, subtly. "Enough." Samantha's laugh cracked the silence like broken glass. "This is so embarrassing." Across the lounge, Maya's gaze caught someone. Luis Ramirez. No apron now, just a phone, angled downward, red light blinking faintly. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He recorded. Whispers curled around the lounge like smoke. Harold Dent chuckled, low and smug. Angela Browning sipped her cocktail with deliberate ignorance. No one intervened, but one by one, phones tilted discreetly. The air was shifting, slowly. Elaine folded her arms tight. "If you don't leave, we'll have you physically removed. No clause, no explanation, just a naked threat." The power wasn't in policy. It was in spectacle. Monica Fields, seated 2 rows away, stirred. Her brows pinched. Her lips parted, then closed again. She felt the injustice, but she wasn't ready to feel the consequences. Maya finally rose, unhurried. She straightened her sleeve with grace, then brushed Greg's hand from her shoulder with 2 fingers, like wiping dust off silk. "You really should check that list again." Elaine opened her mouth, then paused, because Maya wasn't looking at her anymore. She was looking past her, at Luis, and she gave the smallest nod. Not for rescue, not for permission, just confirmation. Something was already in motion. What would you do if someone challenged your right to be somewhere, based only on how you looked? Drop your thoughts below, and if Maya's silence is speaking to you, hit like and subscribe. The real reveal is coming. You are not supposed to be in here. Elaine Turner's voice cut through the lounge like a glass breaking mid-toast. Her posture, upright, arms crossed, radiated control, but her tone? That was panic dressed up in authority. Maya stood calm, a statue of composure in a room suddenly short on certainty. Elaine stepped closer, voice rising. "You think you're untouchable?" No one moved. "Step out of line again. I dare you." It wasn't a request. It wasn't even a rule. It was a challenge, one meant to draw blood, not compliance. And then, silence, the kind that hits just after a slap. No glasses clinked, no one cleared their throat. Even the staff paused mid-stride. Angela Browning froze with her drink near her lips. Harold Dent lowered his phone like he was ashamed to be caught recording. Every eye locked onto Maya. "I've done nothing wrong," Maya said evenly. Her voice didn't rise. Her heart rate didn't either. She didn't need to beg. She didn't need to explain. She was waiting. Her sleeve shifted slightly as she adjusted her cuff. Inside, the micro tracker pulsed once, green, then off again. No one saw it, but Maya felt it, like a second heartbeat. "Wait," Monica Fields whispered, brow furrowed. "I think I've seen her somewhere official. A briefing? An oversight meeting?" Her words barely made it past her lips. They floated, then vanished, swallowed by the weight in the room. Still, they planted a seed. Luis Ramirez, now near the service cart, shifted his weight. His phone was still recording, down low, against his apron, hidden but ready. He wanted to speak, but rank held him back. Still, his face said it all. Something was wrong. Samantha Leeds leaned toward Greg, whispering, "She's bluffing." Greg chuckled. "Of course she is." But across the lounge, Jordan Kim, a quiet software exec with too many NDAs under his belt, was watching Maya closely. "This doesn't feel right," he murmured to his wife. She nodded, eyes pinned to Maya. Maya sat back down, crossed one leg over the other. Didn't speak, didn't move, stillness that shouted louder than outrage. Luis returned, clearing glasses. But when he passed Maya, he placed a bottle of water next to her. Not a word, just a soft tap on the table. She nodded. She picked it up, and under it, folded neatly, was a note. She slipped it into her sleeve as she sipped. Only Monica saw it, and the woman seated behind Angela. Her brow arched in suspicion. Elaine's eyes darted. "Do not engage with her," she snapped to the room. She felt it now. The shift. The unraveling. The power was slipping, and she could feel the sting of it. Maya slowly brushed her hair behind her ear. The faintest glint caught the light. A pin, almost unnoticeable. Jordan Kim froze. He'd seen that insignia, somewhere federal, somewhere high, somewhere untouchable. Greg snorted. "Maybe she's just a drama queen," he said loud. Samantha laughed. Too loud, too forced. A few others joined in. Nervous, uneasy. "She's still here?" Harold muttered under his breath. "VIP seats aren't for everyone." Renee Keller, a finance consultant, hissed, "Why hasn't security come yet?" Maya didn't respond, but her gaze moved slowly, deliberately, across the room. She didn't flinch. She calculated. She reached into her coat, just slightly. Enough to suggest action. Elaine panicked. "Stop!" Everyone jumped. Even Samantha stopped laughing. Elaine stepped forward, face flushed. Her words cracked. "You're making a scene." Monica stepped toward Maya. "Do you want me to call someone for you?" she whispered. Maya didn't respond, but the slight nod was unmistakable. Not fear. "You've had your moment." Greg Dalton stormed back toward Maya, jaw clenched, ego louder than the room. He grabbed the armrest of her chair like it belonged to him. When she didn't move, he bumped her shoulder, hard. "Don't ignore." "Me!" he barked. And then, under the guise of helping, he shoved the chair just enough for it to screech against the marble. The noise alone cracked the hush like a gunshot. "She's disrupting the entire lounge," Elaine called out, turning toward the silent crowd. Her voice echoed with false authority. "She brought this on herself," Harold Dent mumbled in support. Maya stood, not in defense, not in fear. She adjusted her sleeve, smoothed her blouse, raised her chin, and said, "All I've ever asked for is fairness." Click. Luis lifted his phone, openly this time. He wasn't the only one. Maya turned slowly and walked toward the glass exit. Eyes followed her. Good, they thought. She's leaving. But she didn't. She stopped, turned, and walked right back to her seat. Not a word, just presence. Elaine stepped forward, hand trembling with authority she no longer owned. "Maya, please, don't escalate this." Then, smack, Elaine slapped a folder from Maya's hands. Papers scattered across the lounge like feathers. One page skidded to Angela Browning's feet, stamped, official. Angela squinted. "Wait!" gasps, and then Monica stood. "That's enough." Even Jordan Kim looked shaken. Maya turned, calm as ever. "You just made a mistake," she said. A pause. Then, a public one. Luis stepped forward. So did Monica. Phones rose. The silence was over. If someone crossed the line with you in public, would you walk away or walk back? Let us know in the comments. If you're ready for the truth to flip this room, hit like and subscribe. I've tolerated enough. Maya's voice didn't rise. It didn't shake. But it landed like a judge's gavel in a courtroom full of silence. She wasn't angry. She was finished. Her words didn't ask for agreement. They declared a boundary. And the room leaned forward. Elaine blinked, momentarily stunned. "You're making this more complicated than it needs to be," she stammered. But the assurance was gone. Her voice cracked at the edge, and even Greg Dalton, once so smug, took a cautious half-step back. The room had shifted. You could feel it in the air. It wasn't Maya who was being watched now. It was them. Angela Browning lowered her champagne glass. Harold Dent, now visibly uncomfortable, checked his phone with trembling fingers, pretending to escape into nothing. Maya reached slowly into her tote and pulled out a sleek black folder. She didn't make a show of it. She just placed it on the center table in front of her, face down. Stamped in silver foil across the cover. Ascend Oversight Division. A few people gasped. Others exchanged wary glances. The name alone rippled through the room like a silent alarm. Then came something no one expected. Maya tilted her head toward Luis. He nodded, moved, crossed to Monica Fields and handed her a small envelope. She asked you to pass this on. Monica opened it. Her breath caught. She didn't speak. She just stood, turned, and walked straight. Out of the lounge, heels clicking like a countdown clock. Elaine's smile vanished. Her facade cracked down the middle. "What is that?" she demanded, gesturing toward the folder. No one answered, but her voice was too sharp, too desperate now. She knew she was losing control. Jordan Kim stepped forward, voice low. "If you need someone to document the rest, I'm here." Maya nodded once. He lifted his phone. Then she turned, not just to Elaine, but to the entire room. "This was never about policies," she said. "It's about assumptions, and how quickly people reveal themselves when they think no one's watching." The silence afterward was heavy, final. No rebuttal came, no defense. And then, softly, foolishly, Greg Dalton muttered, "People like that don't belong in executive spaces anyway." He thought he whispered it. He didn't. The man seated beside him turned. So did a woman across the aisle. A phone was already recording. Greg froze. The smirk drained from his face. Now the judgment was theirs, not hers. Even the waitstaff had paused, eyes wide, movements halted. No one poured drinks. No one pretended anymore. And for the first time since this started, Maya wasn't the subject of the room. She was its mirror. Maya looked at Elaine. "You should know," she said calmly, "that everything happening here is under review." Elaine opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Maya took 2 steps forward. "This lounge is part of my jurisdiction." Then she stopped. "Didn't say another word." She let the sentence hang in the air like smoke in stillness. And she let them all choke on the meaning. Have you ever been in a room where the energy suddenly flipped? When silence became power? If this scene hit you, type "enough" in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. The reveal is next. The air inside the lounge stopped, moving. Conversations froze mid-sentence. Even the servers hesitated, unsure whether to pour or pause. Time stretched thin. Near the far corner, a figure in a dark blazer adjusted their position. Calm, intentional. The movement was subtle, but one phone caught it. They weren't here for drinks. Maya set a black device on the table. No words, no fanfare. A faint emblem pulsed once beneath her palm. Across the room, Jordan Kim stiffened. Elaine found her. Voice again. "What exactly is going on here?" But the sharpness had dulled. The power behind it had withered. Maya didn't look at her. She looked at the room. "You'll understand soon enough." And then, nothing. But it was the kind of nothing that shakes everything. If you think the antagonist's reaction was uncalled for, hit like and subscribe. She's someone important, isn't she? The whisper came from a young man seated near the bar, and once it left his lips, it multiplied. Murmurs rippled through the lounge like wind through tall grass, uncertain, but growing stronger with every second of Maya's silence. Then came movement. Luis returned, not as a staffer but as something else now. No tray in hand, no towel. Draped over his arm, just a slim black case. He approached Maya quietly and placed it on the table before her. No words, just a nod. A handoff. Like something rehearsed in silence. Maya opened it. Inside, a small remote. She tapped it once. The flat screen in the corner of the lounge flickered to life. Most didn't notice at first. But then Greg Dalton looked up and froze. There he was, on the screen, in grainy security footage from 2 nights ago, berating a different black traveler, tossing a boarding pass into the trash, laughing with Elaine afterward. Gasps swept the room. Elaine stumbled backward. That footage is out of context. 2 new figures appeared at the lounge entrance. Dark suits, security credentials clipped to their jackets. They didn't say a word, just scanned the room, until their eyes landed on Maya and gave a single deliberate nod. Maya didn't acknowledge them. She didn't need to. "Attention, everyone," one of the suited figures finally announced. "We're here to confirm this lounge is currently under executive audit by the Ascend Oversight Division." All eyes turned. A woman near the entrance, one who'd watched the chaos unfold silently, stood and whispered to no one in particular, "Oh my God." I knew I recognized her. Heads turned back to Maya. Judgments turned into something else, something far more rare. Respect. Maya finally spoke. "I've been overseeing this location quietly for several weeks." No raised voice, no apology, just a fact. Greg stepped forward, stammering. I didn't know who you were." Elaine tried to regain her composure. "There's been a misunderstanding." "There's been no misunderstanding," the agent replied. "You've been seen, documented, and now removed from authority." He pulled out a tablet. "Effective immediately, your access is revoked. You are to vacate this location, now." Maya stepped back, folding her hands. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She just let the silence do what it always does. Expose the truth. 3 more agents entered. They carried sealed files, portable hard drives, and a mobile scanner. It wasn't theater. It was protocol. "You never asked who I was," Maya said, turning to Greg and Elaine. "You assumed." She wasn't angry. She was surgical. The crowd, once complicit in silence, stood still. Then quietly someone clapped. Just once. Then twice. And the lounge held its breath. "You chose bias," Maya said. "Now you answer to truth." Elaine looked around. Her co-workers had already stepped back. Not one stood near her. She was alone. Greg turned toward the exit, panic in his stride. "Remain where you are," one of the agents ordered. "You're now under formal review." A tremble ran through Greg's shoulders. He obeyed. The lead investigator stepped forward. "Elaine Turner, Greg Dalton, you are hereby terminated from your positions within Ascend Aviation, effective immediately." "You can't just—" Elaine started. "I just did," the official replied. Another voice cut through. "This isn't personal." Greg, desperate now, Maya's reply was ice wrapped in velvet. "It became personal the moment you made it public." She turned to the room, not to rub it in, but to teach, to those who saw everything, and said nothing. "Thank you for watching. But next time, don't just watch, learn." Then she found Luis in the crowd, and Jordan, and Monica, and she nodded to each of them. Quiet gratitude, spoken without sound. As she made her way to the exit, she passed a large digital display screen near the main glass wall. It lit up automatically. Maya Collins, Chief Executive Officer, Ascend Aero Group Lead Auditor, Federal Compliance and Ethics Division. The entire room saw it. A collective inhale followed. Someone gasped audibly. Angela Browning dropped her drink. No one dared speak. Her name again. Do you believe the antagonists should be forgiven or fully held accountable? Comment your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe. As Maya exited the terminal, a woman followed her quietly. No cameras, no questions, just sincerity. "I've never seen someone win," she said, voice soft, without ever raising their voice. Maya nodded once and kept walking. Within hours, the footage had spread across news outlets, across timelines, across boardrooms, not for drama, not for spectacle, but because it was precise, intentional, true. Later, at a short press briefing, Maya stood behind a podium and said only, "Power isn't noise, it's discipline." To those watching who'd ever been silenced, she added, "You don't have to prove yourself to those who refuse to see. Just stay steady. Truth does the work. Days later, she returned to the same lounge. No fanfare. This time, the hostess greeted her with a bow. "Welcome back, ma'am." Across the room, Elaine Turner sat in a back row of a staff training. Silent, not scorned, but listening. And when Maya stepped into her office that night, a black envelope waited, stamped in red, Phase 2, Nationwide Conduct Audit. She smiled, only slightly, because some battles aren't endings, they're beginnings. Legacy, Maya whispered, turning off the light, isn't in the noise you make, it's in the silence they remember you by. Should the antagonist be forgiven, or was justice served? Let us know in the comments. If this story moved you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded. Dignity is quiet power.